The starship Odyssey Dawn drifted silently through the edge of the Milky Way, its silver hull reflecting the faint light of distant stars. Inside the command deck, Captain Marcus Hale stood before the main screen, his hands behind his back, eyes fixed on a strange signal flashing across the monitor. The crew had been traveling for months exploring deep space sectors never mapped before. They had seen dead planets, strange radiation storms, and empty voids, but nothing like this. "Captain," said Lieutenant Rana, the ship's science officer, "the signal is repeating every 13 seconds. It's not random. Someone or something is trying to talk to us." Marcus tilted his head. "Source?" "Uncharted system, sir. One planet, atmosphere compatible with life. And the energy signature..." Rana hesitated, her voice uncertain. "It's not natural." The bridge grew quiet. Every human there knew what that meant. First contact. Marcus turned toward his communications officer, Ensign Cole, and gave a calm order. "Patch it through." A soft, melodic sound filled the air. It wasn't music, but it carried rhythm and harmony, as if the stars themselves were singing. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Then suddenly a pulse of bright blue light appeared on the main screen. "Coordinates. It's inviting us," Marcus whispered. Rana frowned. "Or it's bait." Marcus smiled faintly. "Either way, we'll find out." He gave the order to adjust course. The engines roared to life, and the Odyssey Dawn accelerated toward the glowing point in the void. None of them could guess that this decision would change the fate of two civilizations forever. As the ship approached the system, the crew saw something astonishing. Instead of a lifeless world, a city floated above a blue desert planet, a shining mass of crystal and metal hovering effortlessly in the sky. Rings of light rotated around it like an artificial halo. "Is that a city?" Cole gasped. "It's massive," Rana said softly. "Gravity control, fusion rings. Whoever built this is far ahead of us." Marcus felt a strange pull in his chest. There was no sign of hostility, no weapons targeting them, no warning signals. Just the endless shimmer of light. He decided to land. The Odyssey Dawn descended slowly through the pale atmosphere, its landing thrusters glowing white against the sand. When they touched down on a smooth platform, the ship's scanners came alive. "Dozens of life forms approaching," Rana reported, energy readings high but stable. "I think they want to meet us." Marcus nodded, adjusting his helmet. "Then let's make history." The airlock opened with a hiss. A small team of humans stepped out, their boots touching alien ground for the first time. The sky above was soft turquoise, and the wind carried a faint hum like electricity in the air. Then they saw them. A group of tall, silver-armored figures approached, moving with perfect rhythm. Their skin glowed faintly under the light, and their eyes shone like liquid crystal. Each held a staff that pulsed with quiet energy. They didn't speak, but one of them raised a hand, gesturing for the humans to follow. Marcus gave a small nod. "Stay calm. No sudden moves." The aliens led them through shining corridors made of transparent material. Beneath their feet flowed streams of light, energy, moving like water. Everything around them looked alive, not built. The walls shifted in color as if they were breathing. At the end of the long hall stood a grand throne room. The ceiling stretched high above, made of starlight woven into crystal threads. In the center was a wide, glowing throne, and on it sat someone who immediately drew everyone's eyes. She was different. The Queen of the Zarians sat tall and graceful, her form both powerful and delicate. Her eyes gleamed like twin suns reflected in water, and a silver crown floated a few inches above her head, held aloft by invisible energy. Every movement she made seemed to ripple through the air like waves of calm authority. Marcus had seen many strange things in his life, but never something that made his heart beat this fast. The Queen's gaze fell upon him, and for a moment the entire room seemed to fade. The guards bowed deeply, but she remained still, studying the human captain with quiet curiosity. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft, melodic, and perfectly translated through their devices. "Are you single, human?" The entire room froze. Marcus blinked. "I what?" The Queen tilted her head slightly. "Are you unpaired? Without mate or bond?" Behind him, Cole choked back a laugh, and Rana's eyes went wide. Marcus could only stare. He had prepared for many kinds of first contact, trade, diplomacy, even war, but this wasn't on the list. "I suppose I am," he said carefully. "Why do you ask?" The Queen's expression didn't change. Because your kind carries something my people have lost. The humans exchanged confused glances. Marcus tried to keep his voice steady. And what would that be, Your Majesty? She stood slowly, the air shimmering around her. Emotion, she said. Connection, the bond between heart and mind. For centuries, the Zarians have evolved beyond emotion to achieve peace and power. But now we are dying, quietly, without reason, without will. Her glowing eyes softened as she looked directly at him. We watched your species from afar. We saw how you fight, how you laugh, how you care even when it hurts. And when I saw you step onto this world, I felt something my people have forgotten. She paused, her voice lowering to a whisper. Curiosity. Marcus's mind raced. You're saying you brought us here because you think humanity can help your species survive? Yes, she said. But more than that, I believe you can remind us what it means to live. The words hung in the air, heavy and unreal. Around them, the Zarian guards stood still, their eyes dim and unreadable. Marcus realized something. This wasn't just a greeting. This was a plea for salvation. The queen stepped down from her throne and approached him. She moved gracefully, her steps leaving faint ripples of light on the floor. When she stopped in front of him, she was close enough for him to see the fine lines of energy moving across her skin like veins of light. What is your name, human? She asked. Marcus Hale, he said quietly. Marcus, she repeated as if testing the sound. You will come with me. There is much I wish to learn from you. Marcus turned slightly toward his team. Permission to speak freely, Your Majesty. Granted. With respect, he said, humanity doesn't belong to any one person. We'll help however we can, but this sounds like something much larger than me. For the first time, the queen smiled faintly. Perhaps. Or perhaps it begins with you. As they walked deeper into the palace, Marcus tried to understand what he had just heard. The Zarians were far more advanced, technology beyond anything Earth had dreamed of. Yet they were missing something as simple and human as emotion. The queen believed humanity held the cure to her civilization's decay. Rana whispered through his comms. Captain, are we sure this isn't some kind of trap? I don't think so, he replied softly. I think she's telling the truth. Behind them, the alien guards followed in silence. The palace's walls glowed faintly, responding to the queen's presence. When she spoke, the lights brightened. When she stopped, they dimmed. It was as if the entire building was alive, connected to her mind. At the far end of the chamber, the queen stopped and turned. Tomorrow, she said, we will begin the exchange. You will tell me about your kind, how you love, how you dream, how you build families. In return, I will show you what it means to touch thought itself. Marcus nodded slowly. I'll do my best. As he and his team were escorted to their quarters, Cole finally whispered, Sir, did that just happen? Did the alien queen ask if you're single? Marcus sighed, running a hand through his hair. Yeah, Ensign. I think we just broke the universe's record for weird first contact. Rana chuckled softly. At least she didn't say, take me to your leader. Marcus smiled faintly, but his thoughts lingered on the queen's eyes, those glowing, curious eyes that looked at him not with fear or superiority, but with something else, something deeply human. He didn't know what would come next, but one thing was clear. First contact wasn't just political. It was personal, and for the first time in his life, Captain Marcus Hale wasn't sure who was studying whom. The next morning on the planet Zarion, the twin suns rose slowly above the blue desert. Their light turned the crystal towers into rivers of gold. Inside the grand palace, Captain Marcus Hale woke to the soft sound of music that wasn't coming from any speaker. The walls themselves were humming, producing calm waves of sound that matched his heartbeat. He sat up slowly, still trying to believe where he was. Yesterday, he had stood before an alien queen who had asked him a question that could never appear in a first contact manual. Are you single, human? He rubbed his temples and whispered, Unbelievable. Just then, Lieutenant Rana entered his quarters. Captain, you're wanted in the audience chamber. The Queen has called for you personally. Marcus nodded. I was afraid you'd say that. They walked together through long glowing halls. Zarian architecture was both strange and beautiful. Shifting patterns of color ran through the walls like water, and the air shimmered faintly with energy. The Zarians they passed bowed politely but never smiled. They looked calm but empty, like people walking in a dream. The throne room was quieter today. Fewer guards, less ceremony. The Queen sat on her glowing seat, her crown of light faintly pulsing as she looked toward Marcus. "Welcome again, Captain Hale," she said, her voice calm and soft. "Did you rest well?" "As well as a man can after being asked if he's single by an alien monarch," Marcus replied. A faint glimmer touched her lips. It might have been the closest thing the Zarians had to a smile. "I am glad your humor remains intact." She rose from her throne and motioned for him to walk beside her. "Come, there is much to see." They walked through a large transparent bridge that looked out over the city below. Flying vehicles shaped like silver petals glided silently through the sky. Below, thousands of Zarians moved about their daily routines, graceful but strangely quiet. "Your world is incredible," Marcus said honestly. "So peaceful, so perfect. Peaceful, yes," the Queen said. "Perfect, no. The peace you see is built upon emptiness. We no longer feel what you call emotion. We learned to remove fear, anger, and jealousy from our minds thousands of years ago. We believed it would bring harmony." "Did it?" Marcus asked. "For a time." She paused, gazing out at her people. "But as our emotions faded, so did our passion, our curiosity, our will to create. Birth rates fell. Innovation stopped. We began to exist without truly living," Marcus frowned. "So that's why you brought us here. You think humans can help you remember those feelings?" "Yes," she said simply. "Humans are strange to us. You fight and destroy, yet you also protect and create. You cry for your dead and laugh a moment later. You are chaos and life." Marcus looked down at the glowing city below. "You think one human can change all this?" Her glowing eyes met his. "I think one human can start it." They entered a new chamber, a vast garden made of light and crystal. Flowers shimmered like glass, each petal holding memories instead of fragrance. When the Queen touched one, Marcus saw visions appear in the air, images of stars, storms, laughter, and faces long gone. "This is our memory garden," she said softly. "Every Zarian stores their most powerful thoughts here. But lately the garden grows dim. Few of my people create new memories worth saving." She turned to him. "Tell me, Marcus Hale, how do humans create meaning?" He was caught off guard. "Meaning?" "Yes, you live short lives compared to ours. What gives you purpose?" Marcus thought carefully before answering. "We live for connection. Family, friends, love. We know we won't live forever, so we try to make our time matter. That's what gives us strength." The Queen's gaze softened. "Love," she repeated slowly. "That word echoes through your language, your music, your history. It is a word without equal in ours." She reached toward a shimmering crystal flower. "What is love truly?" Marcus hesitated, unsure how to explain something so deeply human. "It's caring for someone more than yourself. It's what makes life painful and beautiful at the same time." For a long moment the Queen was silent. Then she said, "I wish to learn it." As they walked further, Marcus noticed several alien figures standing at a distance, watching them. Their expressions were unreadable, but their eyes glowed colder than before. "Your people don't seem very happy about this meeting," he remarked quietly. "They are afraid," she said. "Many believe emotions are a disease. They fear humanity's influence will bring back the chaos we once left behind." "Then why risk it?" She stopped walking and turned to face him directly. "Because extinction is a slower death than chaos." Her honesty sent a chill down his spine. There was no arrogance in her tone, only truth. She truly believed her people were fading. Back aboard the Odyssey Dawn, the crew discussed the meeting. Lieutenant Rana folded her arms. "Captain, this is getting too personal. You're not just representing Earth anymore, you're becoming a symbol to them." Marcus sighed. "I know, but if she's right, they're dying out. We can't just walk away." Ensign Cole grinned. "Maybe she just likes you, sir. You did make quite an impression." "Cut it out, Cole," Marcus said, though he couldn't help smiling slightly. Later that night, Marcus was invited again to dine with the Queen. The meal was a shimmering light that floated in the air, turning solid only when touched. It tasted like warmth and fruit at once, completely alien but strangely pleasant. The Queen observed him curiously as he ate. "Humans use food for more than survival," she said. "You gather, share, and celebrate with it. It connects you." "That's right," Marcus said. "Meals bring people together." "Then tonight we share one," she said. "A beginning." As they ate, the Queen asked question after question about human history, families, children, laughter. She seemed fascinated by simple things, birthdays, music, jokes. "Do you ever feel pain and still choose to care?" she asked at one point. "Yes," Marcus replied. That's what makes it real. Her eyes glowed brighter. Strange creatures, you humans. You hold both fire and compassion in the same hand? Suddenly, one of her advisors entered, a tall Zarian male named Voren. His voice was sharp. Your Majesty, this must stop. Bringing humans here is dangerous. Their emotions could spread like infection. The Queen's tone stayed calm. Emotion is not infection. It is evolution. Voren turned to Marcus. Human, you have no right to interfere in our kind. Leave while you still can. Marcus met his stare. I didn't come here to interfere. I came because your queen asked for help. The tension in the room was thick. Finally, Voren bowed stiffly and left. The queen sighed. He is loyal but fearful. The old ways still hold many minds prisoner. After the meal, the queen led Marcus to a balcony overlooking the shining city. Captain Hale, she said softly, I wish to make a proposal. Marcus raised an eyebrow. A proposal? Not of alliance, she said. Of learning. You will remain here as my teacher of humanity. You will show me emotion, how it feels, how it changes thought. In return, I will open the knowledge of my people to you. Marcus hesitated. That's a big request, Your Majesty. She looked directly into his eyes. You taught me something already, Marcus. When I asked if you were single, you did not fear the question. You faced it with honesty. That is the first spark of what my people have lost. He exhaled slowly. And what happens if your people reject this idea? Her gaze hardened slightly. Then I will stand alone if I must. But I will not turn away from the truth. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was peaceful, filled only with the hum of the city below. Then Marcus nodded. All right, Your Majesty. I'll stay. Let's see if humanity can teach the stars how to feel again. A faint glow passed over her crown, almost like joy. Then our exchange begins. Marcus Hale of Earth. As Marcus returned to his quarters, he felt the weight of what he'd just agreed to. He wasn't only a captain anymore. He had just become the bridge between two civilizations, and the hope of an alien queen searching for something as fragile and powerful as emotion. Above the palace, the stars of Zarian shimmered like eyes watching from the void. Somewhere in that quiet, the queen stood on her balcony, looking toward the Odyssey dawn with an expression no Zarian had worn in centuries. Hope. The next day, the true exchange between human and alien would begin, and with it, a chain of events that neither of them could ever predict. The following day on the planet, Zarion began with a soft sunrise that painted the floating city in gold and blue. The light from the twin suns made the crystal towers glow, as if the heavens themselves had come down to rest. Captain Marcus Hale stood on a balcony high above the desert sands, watching the light spread. The air was calm, but his thoughts were not. He was still trying to understand what had happened. He, a simple human explorer, had somehow become the center of an alien queen's plan to save her people. He looked down at the glowing streets below, where the Zarians moved quietly in perfect harmony. Their movements were graceful, but their faces showed no emotion. It felt strange to see an entire civilization living without laughter or sadness. Emotionless order. Marcus whispered to himself. It's peaceful, but empty. Just then a gentle voice spoke behind him. It is beautiful, is it not? He turned to see Queen Saralka standing at the entrance of the balcony. Her silver gown shimmered like light itself, and her crown glowed faintly above her head. Marcus bowed slightly. Your Majesty, you rise early. As do you, she said softly, walking to stand beside him. I have found that watching the sunrise helps me think. It is the one thing that still stirs. Something inside. Marcus smiled faintly. We humans feel the same. A sunrise gives us hope for a new beginning. She looked at him curiously. Hope, she repeated slowly. That word has no meaning in our language. Explain it. Marcus took a moment to find the right words. Hope is when you believe things can get better even when you don't have proof. It's what keeps us moving forward. The Queen studied his face for a long moment. Then perhaps today I shall learn hope. Later that morning, Marcus began his lessons with her. The great hall had been turned into a learning chamber. Floating lights circled them, recording every word and motion. Several Zarian scholars stood nearby, observing quietly. Lesson 1. Marcus began, smiling slightly. Humans express emotion through art, painting, music, writing. We use colors and sounds to share what we feel. The Queen tilted her head. We have art too, but it is mathematical. Each design follows a perfect pattern. There is no chaos. That's the difference, Marcus said. Human art is not about perfection. It's about feeling. He walked to a large, clear panel and began drawing with a light stylus. The lines came out uneven and clumsy compared to Zarian precision. But when he was done, he had drawn a simple picture, a sunrise over Earth's ocean. This, he said, is not perfect. But it means something to me. The Queen stepped closer, studying the uneven colors. What does it mean? It reminds me of home, Marcus said softly. It reminds me that no matter how far I travel, there's always beauty waiting somewhere. The Queen stared at the image for a long time. Her glowing eyes softened. I can feel something, she said quietly. It is strange. It is not thought but warmth. That's emotion, Marcus said gently. That's what it means to feel alive. Days turned into weeks. Each day, Marcus taught her something new about humanity. He showed her music, a simple melody recorded from Earth. When she first heard a violin, she froze, her crown flickering with light. What is this sound? She asked. It's music, Marcus said. It carries emotion without words. It can make you happy or sad or peaceful. The Queen closed her eyes, listening. When the music reached its gentle end, a single tear of light rolled down her cheek. The room fell silent. Even the scholars stopped moving. She touched the tear in disbelief. Liquid from emotion, she whispered. I did not think my kind was capable of this anymore. Marcus smiled. Guess humans are contagious. For the first time she laughed, a soft melodic sound that filled the hall. It was small and brief, but it was laughter. The Zarian scholars gasped. Their queen had shown emotion for the first time in centuries. Not everyone was pleased. Far across the city, Voren, the queen's advisor, met with several high-ranking Zarian generals. The air in the dark chamber shimmered with cold light. She has become unstable, Voren said sharply. This human is changing her. And if he changes her, he will change us all. General Krill responded in a calm but firm voice. The queen has kept peace for ages. Are you sure this human is a threat? Peace without purpose is death, Voren replied. We are not meant to feel again. Emotion destroyed our ancestors once. Do you wish to see that chaos return? Another general nodded slowly. What do you suggest? Voren's eyes glowed coldly. We remove the human. Quietly. Back in the palace, Marcus and the Queen continued their exchange. One afternoon, she invited him to visit the memory gardens again. The gardens were more alive now. The crystal flowers shone brighter than before. The memories stored within them shimmered with color. The Queen explained softly, Since you began teaching, more Zarians have visited this place. Some have begun creating new memories. That's good, Marcus said with a smile. It means your people are changing. She looked at him seriously. Change brings both creation and destruction, Marcus Hale. You must understand that what we are doing is not safe. He nodded. Change never is. She turned to him, her expression softer. When I first saw you, I did not understand why I felt drawn to you. Now I think I do. You represent everything my people have lost. Marcus looked at her, unsure what to say. Your Majesty, I'm just a man trying to help. Perhaps, she said quietly. But sometimes one person can be the spark that reignites an entire world. That evening, the Queen invited him to join a council session, a rare event where the leaders of the Zarian nation gathered. The chamber was vast, with floating seats made of crystal light. Hundreds of Zarians filled the room, their glowing eyes fixed on the Queen. This session, she announced, is about the future of our kind. I believe humanity can guide us toward renewal. They carry the emotions we lost. Captain Marcus Hale of Earth will speak. Marcus stepped forward nervously. The air was thick with tension. He cleared his throat and began. Your Majesty, honored council, I'm not a scientist or philosopher. I'm just a human. But on Earth, we've learned something important. Emotion isn't weakness. It's what makes us strong. Fear teaches us caution. Love teaches us sacrifice. Hope keeps us alive when nothing else does. The hall remained silent. Some Zarians looked thoughtful. Others looked angry. Voren stood. And what has emotion brought your species, human? Wars, suffering, chaos. Marcus met his gaze steadily. Yes, but it's also brought art, kindness, and courage. Without emotion, we'd be nothing more than machines, and I don't think that's what any of us want to be. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the Queen said softly, Let it be known, I stand with the human. A murmur spread through the chamber. Some nodded, some turned away, and a few, including Voren, glared in silence. That night, as Marcus walked back to his quarters, he noticed the corridors were darker than usual. The lights flickered faintly. His comms unit crackled with static. "Captain Hale," Rana's voice came through weakly from the Odyssey dawn. "We're picking up strange energy readings from the palace. Be careful." Before he could reply, the line went dead. He turned sharply, but the hallway was empty. Only the faint hum of the wall surrounded him. Far above, the Queen stood alone on her balcony, staring out into the stars. She could feel unrest spreading among her people, fear of change, fear of feeling. Yet when she thought of Marcus, she felt something new and strong within her, something she could not describe but refused to ignore. For the first time in generations, the Zarian Queen dreamed. In her dream, she stood beside a human under a sky full of light. She saw her people laughing again, crying again, living again, but when she woke, a single word echoed in her mind: danger. The seeds of rebellion had begun to grow, and the bond between human and queen would soon be tested in ways neither of them could imagine. The next morning on Zarian, the crystal city shimmered like a living jewel under the twin suns. But behind its beauty, tension had begun to spread. Whispered words traveled through the palace corridors. The human has changed the queen. The old ways are at risk. Something must be done. Captain Marcus Hale felt it before he could see it. Walking to the queen's chambers, he noticed guards exchanging sharp glances. Some avoided eye contact entirely. Even the walls seemed to hum with unease. When he entered the chamber, Queen Saralka was waiting. Her usually calm glow was dimmed. "Marcus," she said quietly, "trouble stirs in my court. Some of the council fear change. They do not see hope, they only see danger." Marcus frowned. "Do you think they'll act?" "They will," she said. Soon. By midday, the palace erupted in chaos. The first signs were subtle. Doors locking unexpectedly, energy fields shifting without command. Then alarms blared. Rebels from the High Council, led by Voren and several generals, stormed the main hall. Their staffs crackled with raw energy, and their eyes glowed cold with resolve. Marcus and the Queen were standing together when the first wave of soldiers entered. "Marcus," Saralka said urgently, "we must act quickly. Follow me." She activated a hidden passage behind her throne. The walls of light shimmered and opened into a secret corridor. Marcus followed, his mind racing. He had faced danger before, but nothing like this. An entire civilization turning against the one person he had been trying to help. The corridor twisted and turned, glowing faintly to guide them. Saralka moved with grace, but her expression was tense. "They seek to remove me and anyone loyal to me," she said. "We must reach the lower levels and gather support before they find us." Marcus nodded. "Do your people outside the palace know what's happening?" "Some," she said, "but others still trust Voren. We cannot rely on everyone." They reached the lower level, a large hall filled with crystalline chambers. Several loyal Zarians were already there, ready to fight or flee. Among them were the scientists who had begun experimenting with human emotion, and soldiers loyal to the Queen. "We must protect the citizens," Saralka said firmly. "No lives will be taken unnecessarily. We are not killers. We are a civilization learning to feel again." Marcus swallowed. "And if we fail? Then we die knowing we tried," she said simply. The rebels arrived faster than expected. Energy blasts cracked through the walls, sending sparks flying. Marcus drew his sidearm, a human weapon small but effective, and took cover behind a pillar of glowing crystal. The Queen, without fear, raised her hand, unleashing a controlled pulse of telepathic energy that temporarily stunned the attackers. "Captain Hale," she called, "lead the human contingent. Protect the civilians." Marcus's team sprang into action. Lieutenant Rana coordinated the humans with precision, while Ensign Cole moved supplies and civilians to safety. Marcus felt a surge of pride. Humanity was not meant for peaceful perfection alone. Their strength came from courage in the face of danger. The Queen fought beside them, her glowing eyes burning with determination. Her energy pulses struck with precision, not to harm but to disable. Every move demonstrated her skill, her power, and her growing connection to Marcus. Amid the chaos, Voren appeared, his eyes fixed on the Queen. "Saralka, you are leading your people to ruin. Surrender and the human may be spared." The Queen faced him directly. I will never surrender to fear. Emotion is our path forward. You will not stop me, Voren. The rebels surged forward and Marcus had to choose quickly. He saw civilians trapped behind a collapsing wall. Without thinking, he dove forward, using his body to shield them as his team pulled them to safety. When he rose, he was surrounded by rebels. I surrender, he shouted, raising his hands. The Queen's voice echoed in his mind. Do not let them win. Stand tall, even if you must be captured. Marcus's chest tightened. He knew surrendering was dangerous, but he also knew it might save the Queen. One human could not fight all Zarians alone. He allowed himself to be taken into the rebels' control. As they led him through the palace corridors, Marcus realized he was a symbol now. Not just a captain, but the human who dared defy an entire culture to protect its queen. Voren's cold voice rang in the hall. You see, Queen? He is powerless. He cannot save you. Saralka did not answer with words. She reached through the energy barrier surrounding Marcus, touching his mind with a thought. You are stronger than you think. Do not surrender your will. Marcus felt a warmth spread through him. Not fear, not hope, but determination. He would survive. He would protect her. Meanwhile, loyal Zarians were quietly rallying outside the main halls. Scientists, soldiers, and citizens alike began to realize the Queen's cause was just. She was not weak. She was not misguided. She was trying to revive their long-lost humanity. Using hidden passages, these allies began rescuing prisoners and cutting off rebel forces from strategic locations. The palace became a maze of small victories, a game of intellect and courage rather than brute force. The Queen moved silently through the corridors, her presence inspiring the loyalists. She did not fight recklessly. Instead, she guided, protected, and encouraged. Her power had become a symbol, not fear but hope. Marcus found himself in a dim chamber guarded by two rebels. He could see the city outside through a small opening. Loyal Zarians were now showing signs of rebellion against the rebellion. Using a quick plan, Marcus managed to disable the guards silently, taking their energy weapons. He felt his confidence grow. Human ingenuity and courage combined with understanding could change outcomes even here, among the stars. He moved quickly through the halls, searching for Saralka. At last he found her surrounded by energy barriers facing Voren. You have failed, human, Voren said. Your queen will bow to me. Marcus stepped forward holding the weapons he had taken. I'm not just human, he said. I'm a friend, and friends don't leave each other behind. The Queen's eyes met his. She smiled faintly, a glimmer of light in the chaos. Together, they pushed forward. The battle in the throne room reached its peak. Marcus and the Queen moved as one. He using strategy and human cunning, she using telepathic power. Their combined efforts began to turn the tide. Voren realized too late that his plan was collapsing. Loyalists, inspired by the courage of a human and their queen, joined the fight. The rebels were surrounded, disarmed, and forced to surrender. When it was over, the palace lay in partial ruin, but no civilians were harmed. The Queen looked around, her glowing eyes reflecting relief and pride. Marcus approached her cautiously. Are you okay? She studied him. I am more than okay. I am alive thanks to you, he nodded. It wasn't just me. It was all of us, humans and Zarians alike. She reached out and placed a hand over his. And yet, you were brave enough to surrender yourself to save me. That courage is rare, Marcus Hale. Marcus smiled faintly. I just did what had to be done. No, she said firmly. You did what humanity does best. You protected those who cannot protect themselves. That is why I asked if you were single. That is why I believed in you. That is why. She paused, her gaze softening. I began to hope. For the first time, the Queen allowed herself to feel without reservation. Her people had seen her courage, her power, and her willingness to embrace emotion. Slowly, the citizens of the Crystal City began to understand what Marcus had taught, that feelings were not weakness, but strength. Outside the palace, the sun set over the blue desert, casting long golden shadows across the city. Marcus and the Queen stood on a balcony surveying the calm after the storm. She turned to him, eyes glowing softly. You have changed me, Marcus. You have changed us all. I see now that emotion is not chaos, but life itself. Marcus shook his head. We're just getting started, Your Majesty. There's a lot more for you to learn." Her laugh was soft, genuine, and free. "Then we shall continue together." Above them, the crystal towers reflected the twin suns' last light. A new chapter had begun, one born of courage, hope, and the bond between human and queen. The rebellion was over, but the journey to rebuild her civilization, with humanity's guidance, was only just beginning. And Marcus knew, deep in his heart, that he would follow her, wherever that path might lead. The sun rose over the crystal city of Zarion, painting the towers in soft gold and blue. After the chaos of the rebellion, the city was quiet but alive in a new way. Citizens moved through the streets with a cautious energy, curiosity replacing fear. Everywhere, the effects of human influence could be seen. Laughter, smiles, and cautious conversations filled the air. Captain Marcus Hale stood on a balcony with Queen Saralka. The morning air was crisp, carrying the faint hum of energy from the palace walls. After the battle, the city was rebuilding, but more importantly, hearts were opening. Saralka turned to Marcus. "Look at them," she said softly. "They are learning to feel again, and it is beautiful." Marcus smiled. "You did this, Your Majesty. I just showed you how to guide them. You inspired them." She shook her head. "No, it is humanity that inspired me. You, Marcus, are proof that courage and compassion can exist together." Marcus laughed lightly. "I'm no miracle worker. You are," she said firmly. "And you will help me lead my people into a new era. Together." The palace was filled with activity. Zarian engineers and human technicians worked side by side, rebuilding and improving the city. Technology merged with art, and light streams flowed through the streets like living rivers. Children played in the plazas, their laughter echoing where silence had once reigned. Marcus walked through the crowd, amazed by what he saw. Zarians were attempting human games, racing, learning music, painting in sunlight. Though awkward at first, the joy in their attempts was undeniable. Even the elders smiled quietly, their expressions softening in ways Marcus had never seen before. Rana approached him, holding a small device.
"Captain, energy readings show the rebels have surrendered."
"They are being held safely for trial. The city should be secure." Marcus nodded. "Good, but the real work begins now. Teaching, rebuilding, and helping them feel life again," Rana smiled. "You've done more than any diplomat ever could." The Queen summoned Marcus to the central plaza for a ceremony of renewal. Citizens gathered in silence at first, watching her float above the ground, her crown glowing. She raised her hands and a soft wave of light passed over the crowd. "People of Zarion," Saralka began, her voice clear and commanding. "We have faced darkness. Fear once ruled us. Emotion was forbidden, but now through courage and heart we have discovered a new path. Today we choose to live fully, feeling, loving, and dreaming once more." A murmur passed through the crowd. Then a young Zarian stepped forward, a simple smile on his glowing face. "I feel happiness. For the first time in my life," another citizen added. "I want to create something new, something meaningful." The plaza erupted in quiet celebration, a peaceful revolution of feeling. Marcus watched proud as the Queen smiled. Her people were alive again, not just existing but living. Later, Marcus and Saralka stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The twin suns were setting, casting warm light over the blue sands and crystal towers. "Marcus," Saralka said softly, "there is something I have wished to ask you since the day we met." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess. You're still curious about whether I'm single?" She laughed, a soft, melodious sound. "Indeed, my question remains unanswered. You have shown me courage, compassion, and patience. You are human in every way I hoped for. Tell me, will you stay? Not just as a teacher, but as someone beside me." Marcus felt his heart race. He had faced countless dangers across the galaxy, but nothing compared to this moment. He smiled. "Your Majesty, I'll stay. Not just as a teacher, but as a friend. Someone who believes in your people and in you." Her eyes glowed brighter. "Then let us move forward together." The next weeks were a flurry of rebuilding and learning. Marcus taught the Queen and her people about human arts, music, storytelling, painting, and celebration. Zarians responded with wonder, experimenting with emotion in their daily lives. The city transformed further. Crystal towers reflected not just light, but the joy and energy of living beings. Streets became vibrant with color, laughter, and music. Humans and Xarians worked side by side, creating a society where science and feeling coexisted. Even Voren, the former rebel, watched quietly from the shadows. Slowly he realized that emotion was not weakness. Seeing the Queen's wisdom and the courage of one human had shifted something deep inside him. One day Marcus accompanied the Queen to the memory gardens. The gardens were brighter than ever, filled with glowing flowers representing the revived memories of her people. Saralka guided him through a path of newly planted blossoms. "Look," she said, pointing to a flower that shone with brilliant light. "This memory belongs to a young Xarian child. She painted for the first time today. Her joy is alive." Marcus nodded. "It's beautiful, just like your people." Saralka's gaze softened as she turned to him. "You have given us hope, Marcus. Not just knowledge or courage, but the gift of feeling again. And for that I am grateful." He smiled faintly. "It wasn't just me. Humanity helped. And so did you, your willingness to learn and trust." She reached out, holding his hand lightly. "Then let us continue to guide our civilizations together, humans and Xarians, side by side." The final celebration came on the night of the Twin Sun Festival. Citizens gathered in the plaza as music, light, and energy danced in harmony. Marcus, standing beside Saralka, felt the culmination of all their efforts. The Queen addressed the crowd. "Today marks the dawn of a new era. Our civilization has learned that emotion is strength. Humanity has shown us courage, hope, and compassion. Together we will shine brighter than ever before." The crowd erupted in cheers. Xarians raised their hands, releasing glowing orbs of light into the sky. The city glowed like a beacon, visible across the desert plains. Marcus watched the scene in awe. History was being written not through war but through heart. As the celebrations continued, Saralka turned to Marcus. "My question still stands, human." He laughed softly. "And my answer is the same. I will stand with you, not just as a teacher but as a partner in building this new world." Her eyes glimmered, reflecting the lights of the festival. "Then it begins, Marcus Hale. Together we will guide our people, and together humanity and Xarians will thrive." In that moment, Marcus felt a sense of peace he had never known. He had traveled across the galaxy, faced danger, and seen countless wonders. Yet the greatest achievement was not discovery, not victory, but connection, the bond between two very different beings who believed in each other. The twin suns dipped below the horizon, leaving the city bathed in soft starlight. Marcus and Saralka stood together, overlooking a civilization reborn. They knew challenges would come, rebuilding a society, teaching feelings to a people long without them, and defending the city from external threats. But for the first time, hope was real. Humanity had proven itself once again, not through weapons or power, but through courage, heart, and connection. And the Queen had learned that even the most advanced civilization could grow, change, and shine, guided by empathy, love, and the lessons of a single human. Marcus smiled at Saralka. "We did it, Your Majesty, together." "And together," she said, taking his hand, "we will continue to do so." Above them, the stars sparkled brighter than ever, as if celebrating the union of two civilizations. Humanity had shone and the galaxy had noticed, and in the hearts of both humans and Xarians, a new era had begun, one of hope, courage, and the enduring power of connection. The story of the human who taught an alien queen to feel would become legend, not as a tale of conquest or war, but as a story of heart, bravery, and the extraordinary strength of being human. The Odyssey Dawn waited silently nearby, but Marcus knew he would not leave this planet soon. He had found a purpose larger than exploration, a purpose that stretched across the stars, touching lives and inspiring generations. And for the first time in a very long time, Queen Saralka smiled freely, standing beside him. The galaxy, it seemed, was ready to feel again.